everybody. Real Talk Kim here. I am so excited that you are tuning in today. You know, these podcasts are like my favorite thing to do because I feel like I'm just sitting in a room with you having coffee. So today I want to talk to you about loving you. Falling in love with who God created us to be. You know, last episode I was talking about, or 2 episodes ago, I was talking about my health journey and how I got a hold of my control of my weight. My mind changed. And so we talked about that. But today I want to talk about falling in love with the skin you're in at every season. Now we live in a world with social media and the culture's telling us how we're supposed to be, how we're not supposed to be. And I believe I've got a word today for you that's going to help you realize that you're exactly where you're supposed to be or you wouldn't be there, right? And that you're in the best season of your life if you decide to look at it that way. You know, have you ever seen those people that go from crisis to crisis to crisis? Like it's always somebody else's fault, the reason they're the way they are. They're always trying to put unfair expectations on you to make them happy. I'm sure when I began to ask y'all this, a lot of you had a face pop in your mind. And so we're going to talk about how to love us so that we don't become that person, right? And some of you watching maybe are listening to this today. Maybe you are that person and you know you're that person and you don't know how to fix it. You don't know how to change because you're just so set in your ways. Today we're going to talk about how to do that. But y'all, I'm Real Talk Kim. I'm located right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a pastor. Can you believe that? I'm a pastor at Limitless Church. We have 2 campuses. We have one in Fayetteville, Georgia, the South, and then we have one in ATL. And you can come see us. All the details are on my website at realtalkkim.com under itinerary. We are having a service April the 16th down in the ATL at Plywood Place. Get in the building. It's going to be awesome. I'm also in my church every Sunday, 10 and 11:30 at Limitless Church across from Whitewater High School, 1653 Highway 85 South, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30215. And one of the things that I love to do more than anything is be a coach. I'm a coach to thousands. And you can go sign up right now. What have you been waiting on? Get in my RTK inner circle. Join the movement that we have going on that's incredible. I also do master classes, 7-week master classes of different topics that God's put on my heart. We'll start a new one April the 10th called Relationship Reboot. And it's going to be incredible. You can still join it. Even if you're listening to this 2 years later, you can still go to innercircle.realtalkkim.com and sign up and watch all the replays. All right? So go get in my RTK Inner Circle. Go download my app, Real Talk Kim Go app. Listen, and while you're at it and you're listening to this, go ahead and subscribe. Push that subscribe button and give yourself a permission. Like every time I upload a new podcast, you will get notification. And I upload one Monday and I upload one Wednesday. And it'll let you know when I do that. And do me another favor, not just subscribe, but also share. Share this with somebody because somebody today has been fighting their entire life to love themselves. You would be shocked. People you think got it together, they don't love themselves most of the time. We are good at faking it, right? And so go ahead and share this. And while you're at it, go ahead and give me some 5 stars because that's the way people know that this is a great podcast that they should listen to. Listen, we're about to chop it up. Go get your notebooks. Go get your popcorn, all right? And get settled in. Get cozy on your couch. And let's get into my tips that I took to help me fall in love with myself. I'm going to send this to the break, and then I'll be right back. Get your pen, your notebook, and get serious because we're about to get into it. And I believe this is going to set you free. I'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Y'all, when I say that, does it make you think of Welcome Back, Kotter? Or did I completely just age myself? Y'all know I'm 50. I'm 50, so I'm allowed to do these things. So, y'all, this is Easter week, right? This is Easter week. We're so excited about Easter week at Limitless, and I want to invite you to come be a part of one of our services. We have 8:30, 10, and 11:30 Limitless Church right there across from Whitewater High School, and we would love to have you. We also have Car Hop on Saturday. Bring your family and enjoy a day of community with us, all right? So let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you about things that I did to help me fall in love with me. It took me a really long time to get here, you know. I want to start with number one. Number one, I want to talk about ways to really start loving yourself in the skin that you're in, all right? And number one, I want you to write this down, is eliminate triggers. Remove triggers out of your life. Loving the skin you are in requires eliminating the things in your life that brings you down. That includes the people around you, the media you consume, and places you frequent. If you have friends who constantly degrade you, it's time to move them from the VIP of your life to the regular seats. It is time for you, and I've been preaching this on every one of my prayer calls. I do prayer call Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., and I'm constantly telling you how to eliminate things in your life that the enemy uses. The Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, all right? It doesn't say he does it. It said he comes. How does he do it? He can't touch you. He can't take you out, so he tries to wear you out, and he usually does it through people that won't let you forget your past, people that you need validation from. Y'all, validation is for parking tickets, not people, okay? Anybody that makes you feel like they don't measure up, you know what you feel. Right? You know when you're in the presence of somebody, you know how those people make you feel. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be petty. You know, when you're in a healing process and you're trying to move from one season of your life to another season and you ain't felt a lot of growth, right? I literally spent so many of the past 4 years of my life. A lot of y'all know what I walked through. Got served divorce papers. Never saw me going through divorce again. Didn't see it coming. Knocked the wind out from under me. And in that season of healing, I had to fix the areas in me that were codependent on the things that person's temperament brought into my life. So I was dating the same types of people, but with different faces. And so what I had to do was I had to ask myself, why am I drawing this? It's a law of a draw. What is in me that is making me fall in these relationships where these people can't give me what I need? And I figured it out, y'all. I was looking for people to fill voids that only God could fill. So you already know what I'm talking about when I said you got to remove people that are triggering you, right? You already know some of their faces already have popped in your head. Then if you are scrolling through Instagram, consuming content that makes you feel unhappy about yourself, unfollow, right? There's some of you that are, man, you're like following these people that make you feel really crummy about your life. If this page that you're following, it looks like they've got the most perfect life ever, and you are devastated because you want their life now, you need to unfollow that page, even if it's just for a season, right? Because you can't allow the enemy to use someone's social media page where they're only showing highlight reels and it's getting in your spirit, and now you are hating your life. If you find yourself in spaces where you feel unwelcome or undervalued, remove yourself. I always say this, God created you to be fine china, not treated like a paper plate. We're in a season where we're going around people, places, and things where we feel celebrated and not tolerated. Life is too short to deal with the startling consequences of negative energy that can be easily avoided. Well, I don't know how to avoid it. Remove yourself. You are a whole grown up. And even on social media pages now, they've worked it out. So you don't even got to let people know you unfollowed them. You don't have to unblock them. Just unfollow them. You can mute them. You can snooze them. You can unfollow them. And guess what? They are gone, out of sight, out of mind, and they don't even know that they've bothered you to this point. But you're going to heal. So instead try hanging out with people that energize you. Following people on social media who make you feel confident, who make you feel like that if they can do it, you can do it, right? Y'all, when I was in my healing process, most all of my mentors, I had a bunch of them, they all sounded the same. I didn't have a whole bunch of different voices in my ears, but it was people that God sent. I didn't have a bunch, maybe like 4, but that's kind of a bunch. But none of them even knew they were my mentors, because I just would grab a hold of that voice that would push me to break through and not break down. And I would listen to them. I would overdose on them. And I would do what they said to do because I felt like God brought them in my life to help me move forward. So try hanging out with people that energize you, following people on social media who make you feel confident, and listen, get out of your comfort zone. Go eat by yourself. Go make new friends. Make yourself friendly, right? You are going to be so surprised how much happier you will feel about yourself and life in general when you do the very small things that I just told you to do in number 1. And I really believe in these podcasts, y'all. Things I tell you are like awakening moments. Like, oh my gosh, this seems so easy. It is. It really is. But a lot of times we are glutton for punishments. We truly feel like that the things that we're going through, we deserve to go through it because we've had some counterfeits in our lives that have made us feel like we weren't worth fighting for and they could just walk out of our life. Here's number 2, to fall in love with you, right? Adore your defining features. Adore your defining features. Often, it's the things that are unique about our appearance that we feel the most self-conscious about. Perhaps it is the shape of your nose, the freckles that scatter your cheeks, or the special color of your hair. As women, we spend so much time, money, and energy trying to alter our appearance or play down certain traits while enhancing others. When you start to not only accept, but to celebrate your unique defining features, it feels so freeing and empowering. And maybe it's not even something visual. Perhaps it's the sound of your laughter, the way you run, or the character trait that is essentially you. These are the things that the people around you most likely love the most about you, and it's time to do the same. Y'all, so I've got my nose, right? On the tip of my nose is like a butt. And I always couldn't, my brothers got little features, and why God gave me, the girl, the big features. And I never understood that, and I always hated my nose. And people would always talk about my nose. In fact, my ex used to pray, God, don't let my sons have her nose. And guess what? They didn't. They got the most beautiful little noses on the planet. But I walked through life allowing this one character flaw that I felt was a character flaw, because I got big features. I would beat myself up because of those things, right? And in the last few years of my life, probably 45-ish up, I started falling in love. It's almost like that movie, Dirty Dancing, and that gray girl had that big nose, right? And we all knew her by her nose. And then she goes and gets her nose fixed, and nobody even recognized her anymore, right? Because she took away the very thing that God created her difference in, right? And so I have taken so many years to learn to fall in love with all of me. In fact, in my RTK inner circle, we have challenges every so often where I'm like, y'all go do a video talking about all of me loves all of me, and tell me what you love about you. Because a lot of times we're so focused on what we don't like about ourselves that we forget the great things that God has created us to be, to make us unique. And so, man, love it. Adore your defining features. Here's another one. Do the work. Do the work. It doesn't just happen. Like all things in life, loving the skin you are in requires work. Everything is connected. So it's extremely important that you listen to your body and follow its lead. So you got to pay attention to how the food you consume makes you feel. Understand, right, what's going on inside by visiting your doctor regularly. Yo, I have always been very, 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 very healthy. And when I started to lose weight 3 years ago, I was starting to feel a little sluggish. And I was like, I guess it's premenopausal because I'm coming up on 50. And how many times that we allow, the age, what society tells us at a certain age, your body's going to do this, but not everybody's the same. And so I go to the doctor, and at that doctor's appointment, they found out that I had hyperthyroid. I'm like, what is that? I'm feeling sluggish. I'm feeling out of sorts. I'm feeling like discombobulated. I'm gaining weight. And I'm just like, man, all of a sudden I'm going to hell in a handbasket. And I'm starting to hate getting older. And a lot of women that I would talk to that were in their 40s, their late 40s, were feeling the same way. But when I went to the doctor, I said, I want you to do all my blood work. And you can go anywhere and get this. Like you don't even got to use insurance. It's like $50. And they will take all your blood work and they'll see if everything's in alignment, hormones, testosterone, they'll do all of that. And then they will give you what you need to help get you situated. I never dreamed in a million years that they were going to tell me I had a thyroid. Like I never even, what? It shook me. So they give me 0.5, a little pill. And I'm like, I'm not taking that. I'm not going to take that. Like God's going to heal me. And I heard the voice of God, y'all, literally. Like, how do you know that my healing isn't going to come through this little pill that you need to take? It's called life. Right? And then she proceeds to tell me that most women have some thyroid issues the older they get. It doesn't mean I'm dying. It just means that I'm changing. And so a lot of times to do the work means that with every new season of your life, you literally have to do the work, which means you got to go get your blood work. You got to go to the doctor more. Right? You got to do things that you don't want to do because ignoring something does not make it go away. All right. The best thing I ever did was take that little bitty pill every morning, 0.5 milligrams. It's not even a lot, but it got my body situated. And so maybe you've been feeling sluggish. Maybe you've been feeling out of sorts. Maybe you just need some estrogen. Right? You over here feeling like you about to cut your wrist and it's because your thyroid's out of whack or your hormones are going nuts or you're in premenopause. Who knows? When one little doctor visit could fix it. And stop being too proud to take something. Stop blaming it on God. I'm waiting for God to heal me. No, maybe that is where God's going to heal you. It's through doctors. He gives them their skills for a reason. Okay? And here's another one. Speak kindly about yourself. Speak kindly about yourself. Stop walking around beating yourself up, talking about your big nose, your 5-finger forehead, right? Stop listening to what your ex said about you. Your ex left your life telling you were fat and ugly. You got big old thick thighs. You should really be thankful for your thick thighs because your thick thighs saved that cell phone from falling in the toilet a time or two, okay? Like you can't just walk through life listening to angry people. That ex that talks so ugly about you in the end used to love you, okay? This is how I get over what exes have said about me, what people that walked out of my life and don't like me no more. I always remind myself at some point they loved you a whole lot. And so you must not be all that bad because they were in your life and they loved you, right? So you can't own what people say about you. The words we use to talk to ourselves are incredibly powerful. And if you spend days, weeks, or even years telling yourself something, it is very hard not to believe it. But are the words you are telling yourself true? As women, we can be our own worst enemy and make up all kinds of nonsense about our appearance, our behaviors, or measures of success. Negative words like I can't, I don't, I shouldn't are best replaced with positive self-talk. Try talking to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. Tell yourself something positive every day. how wonderful you look in that dress, how lovely your eyes look today, how proud you are that you went and worked out today. Celebrate the small wins and the big wins. Taming your inner critic isn't always instant, but it's worth the effort. And over time, practicing loving words over hurtful words will come more easily. I do this all the time. I am my biggest fan. I am the president of my own fan club because I know that I can quickly fall. Y'all listen. So even the other day, I am out running. Y'all know I'm putting all these videos up showing me I'm running because I'm trying to get all y'all active too because I feel so much better. And y'all know that I'm like that. Like I go overboard. And I am running and this lady comes in on one of my posts and puts, "I'm so disappointed in you." She said, "I'm so disappointed in you. I thought you were different. I thought that you were set apart and that you loved the skin you were in. Then you go and have all that surgery. And now I realize you're just like all the other pastors, women pastors out there." And the first thing I wanted to do was clap back, right? Because I've never had surgery. The only thing I've ever had, y'all, and I'm going to get very real, is a boob job. I got a boob job when I was 21 years old, very insecure, just had kids, right? That's the only type of knife that I've ever had. But because I put in the work the last 5 years, I look like a completely different human. Now I've got Botox, but I've never had a surgery, a face job, a nose job, nothing. I had some lips put in. I always talk about everything I do, right? Some filler and some Botox, but it doesn't change. It's not surgery. It doesn't change your appearance. And I wanted to clap back because I was like, this is so unfair that people won't give you credit. This is what I was feeling. That won't give you credit for you putting in the work. And then all of a sudden I remembered, girl, you look completely different. I look completely different than I looked 4 years ago. When I walked through that divorce, I literally went to work on me. I went to work on Kim, and I began to work out, and I began to love me, and I began to fall in love with Jesus, and I began to fix the areas that were mean and ugly. I'm not ratchet like I used to be. I am connected to the Spirit, right? And I had to remember that you can't allow voices or people like that to steal who God created you to be. This is why you got to learn how to celebrate yourself, right? And be proud that you put in so much work that somebody is going to crucify you and call you names and put lies on you that you didn't do. That's a compliment because that means you've really glowed up a lot and you should really high five yourself, all right? So listen, here's another one. You got to celebrate what makes you different. Celebrate what makes you different. Why fit in when you can stand out? What makes you different? Since entering my 50s, y'all, I've come to realize that life in the social media world makes it really easy to view your life through the lens of others. And we are taught what's socially acceptable at a really young age by adults that were handed the same outdated playbook that we were. It's almost like we're trained to fit in. Go to school, get good grades, land a corporate job, go back to school, start a family. That's what our checklist looks like. We haven't even gotten to body image yet. Don't eat this, don't eat that, watch your weight, count those carbs. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? Right? It's coming in our ears at fast pace. I'm here to tell you that living a fulfilling life doesn't require landing that corporate job or counting those carbs. It requires you seeking out what happiness means to you as an individual, developing a checklist tailored to your specific needs. You don't need to look like anyone else, obtain that same credentials that your daddy did, or live your life according to anyone else's standards. Nobody said you had to cook like your mom, right? Nobody said you had to be a stay-at-home mom and do what your mama did for you. Maybe God created you to be the first millionaire woman of God. Maybe God created you to be a wife, a mother, and a marketplace boss chick, right? So embracing your individuality and trusting yourself to forge your own path is the most important step to loving the skin that you're in. All right. Now here's the last one. Stop comparison. I got two more actually. Stop comparison. Stop beating yourself up for not being like somebody else that's in your group. I have gotten to this place. I used to, when I first started preaching, I would look at all these other, because women preachers, they're, especially when I started, there was maybe 3 or 4, and I wanted to make it. And I couldn't believe that God was putting me on the platforms that he was putting me on. And I would try to hoop like them and preach like them. And I remember God was like, I didn't create you to hoop. I created you to be real. I created you to be transparent. I created you to be different. Y'all know I used to preach in tutus. I've always beat to my own drum. But you know why I started preaching in tutus? Was because I was very addicted to people approval. And those tutus made me get out of people approving, because if you're going to walk out in a tutu and preach, you got to get rid of people pleasing. You can't care what people think about you. And so I went through a whole season where I just focused on, just being me, loving me. It's an everyday journey, y'all. You don't always accomplish it, because every time you get to another level, you got new stereotypes that people think you should be like, right? And so sometimes people don't like that. They don't like you being different, but you still got to be different. And you got to stop comparing your life. And I really want to encourage you. I'm about to send this off to a break, but I really want to encourage you that while we're on this break, I want you to ask yourself, am I being who God created me to be? Or am I becoming something that I don't even know? When I walked through my divorce, I couldn't even tell you what my favorite color was. I couldn't even tell you what my favorite food was, because I'd lost me trying to become everything that a broken person needed me to be. That didn't even know how to love himself, so how could he love me? And in that season, I remember I used to pray every day, God, let me fall back in love with the Kim that you created me to be. I want to love me. I want to love my nose with the butt in it. I want to love my big features. I want to love being the biggest person in my family. Like, you did not make any mistakes when you created me. And I think about that all the time now. Nobody could take me serious. I couldn't be real talk Kim if I was 5 foot tall, 99 pounds soaking wet. I had to be like a boss. I had to be strong. I had to be big. I had to be big spirited. I had to be too much. I had to be able to yell at y'all and sit in your laps and tell you the truth. And so I'm going to send this off to a break, and then I'm going to come back and give you one last tip to loving yourself. And we're going to close this out strong, because I believe that this podcast is reminding some of you that you have lost yourself trying to fit into places that you never belonged in the first place. Trying to get people to love you that weren't even supposed to be in your life, right? You married that person, then that marriage didn't work out. Could it be because you never consulted God and asked him, is this person going to be able to, can their character keep up with the purpose that you have on my life? So when you start switching the script and you start flipping that thing and realizing that just because the curtain has closed in your life in a season that you don't like, could it be that God was closing that curtain to set up for the next scene? So y'all, I'm going to send this off to break, and I will be right back with my final words. Welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here with me. Man, we've had a great podcast. I believe that this podcast, it's something that I can really talk about, because my whole life, probably just like you, I've struggled with, just feeling like I was good enough, right? Getting in the wrong relationships. And I believe that the enemy always fights you in the area that you're weakest at. And I always wanted to have certain things in my life look a certain way at 50, and you know what? They don't. Nothing I thought my life would look like at 50 does it look like. But can I tell you, it is so much better because I love me and I love the journey that I'm on, and I love the fact that God gives us do-overs, right? So I want to end this with another tip for loving who God created you to be, loving all of you. All of me loves all of me, right? It's to be grateful. The one key that I've learned in my life that has helped me stay focused, and man, I mean, stay where I'm at. Because when my ministry started 10 years ago, it started fast. And everybody was like, oh, she's a one-hit wonder. She won't be here long. And I was like, that scared me, right? Because I didn't want to be a one-hit wonder. I was on Preachers of Atlanta. I literally, like, overnight became a household name in a lot of places. And I didn't want to be a one-hit wonder. And I realized in that season that being grateful was the key. Like, never, ever, ever do I take things for granted. And if I do, I usually lose them. Yeah. And then I appreciate the next time I get the opportunity to have that blessing in my life. So being grateful, good old gratitude strikes again. While we did just talk about not comparing ourselves, let's go there for a moment. If you are listening on this podcast today, you are already in more adventure and more in a greater position than millions of people in this world. If you have a bed to sleep in, you have a job to go to, a family to be around, food in your kitchen, and access to health care, you are way far more privileged than most people. Right? And you may say, well, I ain't got all that. I'm missing some of that. Stop focusing on what you don't have and thank God for what you do have. All right? Step back and look at how much you have and how incredible your life is. Put your worries in perspective and replace your complaints with gratitude. All right? Focusing on what you perceive to be wrong will only keep you stuck. I tell my kids this all the time. Stop looking at what you lost and thank God for what you have. You may not be where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. And that is amazing. You hear me? You might be in a season of starting over, but be grateful for that. Because a lot of times we have to lose what we gained because we gained it in our own flesh instead of letting God do it. And here's the last one. Learn to let go. Learn to let go. Learn to release anything that has released you. Stop trying to figure out what you did wrong. Nothing. Maybe you did do something wrong, but who cares? The right person for you would have never walked out. They would have helped you fight. So stop fighting people that walked out of your life and let them go. Rejection was not necessarily someone wanting out of your life, but it was somebody God needed out of your future. Let it go and trust God. Because your best days are right in front of you. Nothing that you've lost is greater than what God is going to bring into your life. I love Psalms 46:10. It says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. And then Proverbs 3 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Today, breathe. And let God put his arms around you. Regroup, reset. As long as you have a pulse, God has a plan. Your best days are in front of you. Your ladder will be greater. Y'all, thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for sharing this podcast. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for loving me. Get in my RTK inner circle. Go to realtalkkim.com. Be a part of my world. I would love to do life with you. Remember, you can also get all of my clothes. I have all these incredible clothes on my website at rtkstyle.com. I love you. I'll see you next week.